So, Moodlight. So, Moodlight is bringing chat room emotions into the real world with theatrical lighting. And it's, as a hack, it's basically taking Matrix's chat client Riot and using the text, sort of analyzing the emotion of the text that's going on in a single chat room and outputting that emotion through a Hue Philips light bulb. What's actually happening in between those steps is, of course, the hack, which is linking Riot into a Slack channel, using a Slack bot to analyze the information and sending that through to a Python client. And then the Python client, which is actually local on this machine, is getting all the info from the Slack bot and then submitting it through the Hue Philips local API to that light bulb over there, or to this bridge, which then transmits over to the light bulb. So what we've set up is a very simple solution. Basically, the what's the name of the script that does the analysis?
Yeah, so the sentiment analysis is based on algorithmia Python library, obviously. So we didn't write that, but yeah.
Yeah, so the algorithmia library basically takes any text that you write and tries to figure out if it's positive, if it's negative, if it's neutral, and it gives you just a number on that scale. So what we've done is we've taken that scale and modified it so it works within the hue scale between blue and red on this light bulb here in front of you. So you're probably wondering, why would you want a light bulb that shows the emotion of your chat room? It's kind of a strange thing to desire. But we found a potential use case through something like Twitch TV, or even something like this presentation here, which I'll show you in a minute. So imagine you're watching a video game on Twitch TV, and you're watching this guy play, and he's got his little live video feed. You've got a little chat room there, so everybody who's watching can chat and talk to him. While he's playing the game, let's say somebody says, "Oh, that's why it's so good," and he says something positive. Suddenly you notice the light bulb that's in the room with the actual player changes to a nice blue color, and it's all very happy. And then somebody else says something quite negative, like, "You suck," and suddenly the light changes red. So we could either have it work on something like an aggregate of all the chat messages so far to give a general mood, or we could have it work in a more instantaneous way where every single message would change that bulb based on the relative sort of positive or negative value of the sentence. So to show you how that really works, we're going to give you a little bit of a live demo. So here we've got a little Riot chat window going, and we're typing pretty boring things. But yeah, if you want to just say something. Let's say I'm doing really well in this presentation.
Right now, just to show you what neutral
Oh,
does.
okay, so we'll get into. That's not neutral. It got very angry about that.
Okay, it's probably the politics thing.
Yeah, politics perhaps got neutral.
If I go to actual really bad stuff, stays there pretty much. Yeah, it did change a bit, just saying.
Okay.
Moving on to being happy and all nice and blue.
So yeah, so if I were up here and let's say everybody in this room had access to this chat channel, so I'd be giving this presentation, and now I'd realize you guys are actually quite annoyed at me while I'm presenting, and I might want to change what I'm talking about and perhaps compliment the audience, say how amazing they are to come here today, and then maybe something comes up that perhaps pleases them, although at this point nothing seems to be pleasing the audience to my right. There we go. So it's actually good. Okay, so people are kind of liking me right now. I'm getting a purple output somewhere in the middle. Oh. So, and you can get a little bit of a peek to what's going on in the background here. We've got our Python script running, and you can see each individual message comes through. I like hackathons. Hackathons make me happy. It gives it a compound result. So what this is it's actually the result coming through and then getting translated into a hue value from 45,000 to 65,000, which are basically the colors between blue and red. And it gives it an output, in this case, 47,648. The other thing we haven't shown yet is if I just turn the volume up, and then if we say something, let's say, that's really happy or really sad.
Hopefully that'll work.
I'm sure. So if you get beyond a certain level, you might even add sound effects. So you'd have the person reacting and hearing the sound of a good, so if you're a Twitch player or something, you get sort of background music going on in your scene as well.
Are we going for
So
bad?
yeah, let's go for
Okay,
something
go for
bad.
that.
So if you really don't like what's going on. So yeah, terrible, bad, hurt, pain, death. It's a very negative sentence. So I think
That's a great way.
that's about
end
it.
the presentation.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's it. So that's Moodlight. Any questions or queries or yes?
Which room is that? Is it in the back? Is it public or is it private?
The room?
Yeah.
The Riot room.
I think.
Oh, the Riot. It's currently private. We could have opened it up to everybody, but we thought the light bulb might go crazy. Maybe we'll do it a bit later with the room and see if we can get that thing going very quickly and see how many messages we can get through.
We started out originally as doing it as a kind of compound thing of what everyone was saying, because obviously it shouldn't be sentence by sentence.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we needed to create something where, you know, the more recent messages have more value than the older ones. And we're like, this is going to take ages, especially to present. So in order to present, we've just done it line by line.
Yeah.
But the real thing would actually be a compound with a different value for how recent the line would be.
Yeah, so it sort of loses value over time. So if you have later messages in the chat, they'd sort of add to that value and overall change it from positive to negative. But as a demo, it was less exciting because it took many, many messages. We have some messages previously in the chat that just say happy about 50 times, and you had to write about a bunch of them to get this thing finally incrementally changing. But yeah, we see there's some potential there.
You should hook it into the avatars too, so that if people get angry, then their avatar is a angry person.
Actually, yeah, one of our first inspirations for this was looking at the Facebook Oculus demo they had recently, where they had avatars that expressed emotion, and we thought it'd be really interesting to have somehow your environment getting affected by your emotion while you're in a chat room, and eventually it turned into something that was a bit more achievable in a hackathon and using some of the Internet of Things we had around. So, yeah.
Brilliant, thanks very much. Any more questions from the room? Emmanuel?
Yeah.
Sorry, Dalton. If you shout it out, I'll tell you what, I'll bring the mic to you so that the remote feed guys can get the question.
This isn't really a question so much as a suggestion. Something cool you could do with this mood lighting is imagine you're watching a movie and then you rig up some recorders. And so as soon as somebody says something like really, the action becomes really tense, the lighting can change. And so you can have like a sort of dynamic lighting in your like home cinema.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. It would be interesting to actually pull the dialogue and see if you could match the same emotion of the characters based on what they're saying that matches with what the director wants you to feel at that point of time. But yeah, that would be a cool integration as well. Anything else?
Good stuff. Thanks very much, folks.
Thank you.